Welcome everyone to our show again, Love, Sex and Romance. Today, we're going to be talking about sickle cell and love. And on our show today, we have a special guest with us, Ms. Oluwafemi Ajayi, is a PhD doctoral student and also an advocate for sickle cell internationally. She's going to be telling us about the struggles and what is going on in the world that people try to ignore. And we're going to still talk about love because, like we said before, this is the week of Valentine. Every aspect of love is going to be covered. So welcome on show, man. How are you, man?
Thank you. Thanks
We are
for
happy
having
to
me.
have you on our network, Prime Value Broadcasting Network. Happy Valentine to you.
Thank you for having me.
So, please tell us about yourself.
As you said earlier, I'm Oluwafemi Ajayi. I have sickle cell disease. I'm a patient advocate and the convener of Girl Sickle Initiative. It's a non-profit organization for people living with sickle cell to support them in any aspect required. And I'm also an international advocate for sickle cell and pain worldwide. Thank you.
So, when you say sickle cell and pain worldwide, what does that mean?
Okay.
The emphasis is on pain.
Yes, I advocate for pain internationally, and I also advocate for sickle cell disease. I'm involved in a lot of research work that seeks to know better about how we can live comfortable lives without sinking into our pain. There's so much pain all over the world now. In sickle cell, you find pain. Cancer, you find pain. In any disease, you find pain there. So I, among other people internationally, other academics internationally, we continue to research on ways to make life comfortable for patients living with pain all over the world.
All right. So, can you tell us what is actually sickle cell? Like, let our audience know what is sickle cell. Everybody seems to have an idea, but can you just explain in detail? Leave nothing on top.
I think the best way to explain is to say it in the layman's language, one sentence that everyone can understand. And I will say sickle cell is an inherited blood disorder. It's a disorder of the red blood cells. And in a case where the normal red blood is supposed to be circle shape, in the case of sickle cell, it is sickle, like the shape of a half moon, just as the name. So sickle cell is a disease of the red blood cells. And just because of that disorder of that red blood, it leads to a lot of complications. That is why you find so many people with sickle cell disease. Some have yellow eyes, some are very small. They look way smaller than their age. Some are slow, some have big belly, and some you don't even see it at all. And you find sickle cell in various countries, and each country has its own peculiarity. For example, in Nigeria, you find sickle cell anemia. What I've not mentioned is sickle cell has different variants. There is sickle cell anemia, HBSS. There is HBSC. There is sickle cell. Then there is sickle cell thalassemia. Thalassemia is not common in Nigeria. You find it more in diaspora. But sickle cell anemia is more prevalent in Nigeria, and it is the most chronic variant of it all. Most people with sickle cell in Nigeria, they are SS. That's like, oh, you are SS. So, and people think it's only SS. No, it's not SS. There is SS, there is SC, there is thalassemia as well, different variants, and each of it comes with similar complications. But with SS, it is the most chronic. It is the most potent of the variants. So sickle cell is a serious disease that has so many complications. So many complications.
Right. So I want to ask you something off the normal questioning. I've noticed, like you said, this is in Nigeria. Have they traced the origin? Because look, in diaspora, in the white man's world, anything bad is usually black people.
Yes.
And they will say some things about monkey, about the bats, about some things. They will say, oh, black people are eating monkey, that is why, or there's a bat somewhere. What is the origin of this sickle cell? Like maybe 200 years ago, has there been any research to like trace the origin of sickle cell, especially in Nigeria?
Thankfully, my doctoral studies is focusing on sickle cell, the lived experience of people with sickle cell disease. So it gave me a deeper knowledge. The earliest discovery of sickle cell disease was a black man in the United States. And he just noticed, his mother just noticed that he kept falling sick and sick and sick again. And somehow they took him to the hospital. So he was more or less like a guinea pig, where they ran series of tests on him, and then the doctors discovered something strange, that his blood, his red blood cells were not normal. The shape was very, very, very not normal, and then they were like, what is this? Why are your red blood cells having this kind of shape? And from there they could trace it that was the source of the health condition, because he found himself continuously in pain, having sores on his body that would refuse to heal. He had leg ulcers and all of that. So that was the first. It could be traced back to like over 100 years ago in US. But from there, researchers took it up to study more, and they traced it that, okay, this thing is more in Africa. And unfortunately, at present, the highest prevalence of sickle cell is in Nigeria, with about 150,000 patients every year.
Right. So let me ask you a controversial question. Okay. Here in Nigeria, what part of Nigeria, Nigeria is divided to 6 zones, northeast, northwest, north central, southeast, southwest, south south. What part of Nigeria has the most prevalent occurrence of sickle cell?
That is a very, very dicey question. It's one that I can't give you a very, very specific answer as of now. But in my few years of advocacy, what I've noticed is there are a lot of us. I've been to Lagos alone. We will probably be having over 200,000.
Wow.
Myself and some of my volunteers, we go on outreaches to some of these government hospitals, and there was one of the programs, we went to one of the clubs, and we didn't invite much people, but just that we invited very, very few people. We had a count of over 200 already just that day. Over 200 in a very minute local government area. And that was, not all of them were present. It was just a few. So for Lagos alone, we probably would have about 200 or more. This is not a specific answer. It's an approximate. Then in Kogi, they have a lot in Kogi State. It's all over. It's all over in Nigeria. It's all over the place. There is a delta, but fortunately, there are advocacy groups that are coming up and trying to work things out with the patients, bringing them out and helping them live better lives.
The show is Love, Sex, and Romance, and we are talking about sickle cell today on the show because patients with sickle cell or people living with this disease have the right to be loved and loved back too. So, and our guest today is Dr. Oluwafemi Ajayi. She's been giving us more detail about what is going on in the world of sickle cell, the type of people like to ignore, but they are entitled to love and be loved too. So, I'm still not satisfied. And I'll tell you what I'm trying to get at. You understand? Once you know the origin of something, if you can trace it back to the origin, then that is when the research actually begins. And what causes it? Is it food? Is it years of habit of doing something they have no business doing? Because I remember in 1986 when they were talking about HIV.
Yes.
HIV, maybe, I don't know. I think it's 1983 actually. But I got to be aware of it in 1986. So they discovered it is men having sex with men.
Okay.
That was one of the root cause of HIV then. Of course, after years of experiment and the research, maybe that is not true, but I remember vividly one of the things the teachers, they told us at the time in 1986 is like men having sex with men is the root cause of HIV. And they tell you like you can't catch HIV by just sitting on the toilet. You know, the do's and don'ts, but we all know it's also a blood transmitted diseases and stuff like that. So, like, I'm trying to get like there is a reason. Even though you say it's hereditary, but how is it like some people have it, some people don't have it? So that's what I'm trying to say because now when you say due to your research, it was discovered in America some years ago. And it's also among black people, which are probably slaves from Africa. Could it have been slaves from Togo or Benin Republic or Sierra Leone? Or is that particular person, they trace the genealogy of the person is from Nigeria? I'm just trying to see if there's any conclusive or almost conclusive evidence that, okay, this is a black disease as of all the black nation, Nigeria, of all the states in Nigeria, this place. That is what I'm trying to get at. But for example, like in Nigeria now and all over the world, there is a town called Ibora. It's famous for twins. So that's what I'm saying. Nobody wants to be famous for something bad. You understand? Like, okay, this disease, is it local to Kogi State, or your state, or your state? Like, it's spread because we human beings we move around. You understand? The source of this disease.
Thank you. First of all, let me correct that. I'm still doing my doctoral studies, so I'm
Okay.
not yet a doctor. And then, okay, then the most common source of sickle cell is the genotype compatibility. Do you understand what I mean? Genotype compatibility. Sickle cell disease is not something that is airborne. It's non-communicable. It's what when you have a partner, when you inherit it from both parents. That is why we emphasize on genotype compatibility. Let me take for example now. They say love is blind, right? In my own dictionary, love is not blind.
All right. You hear that? Love is not blind. Okay.
So genotype compatible. Why am I saying love is not blind? Because I know I have sickle cell disease, and I know that the only person that is compatible with my genotype is somebody with AA, whose genotype is AA. If I go and marry AS is not compatible with my genotype. But the only thing I can do, if I insist that, okay, I want to go the love way, well, I love him, I love him, I love him, I love him, and he's AS, and I'm SS, and my love is blind, okay, let's give it a try. Let's seek genetic counseling. What do the genetic counselors say? Is it something we can risk? Okay, I go to the gynecologist, and he says, maybe I can do something. He can take my S and take the egg from my spouse. Okay, lucky me. But in most cases, or in a large percentage, it doesn't work out that way. The best thing is know your genotype and know that your spouse's genotype is compatible with yours. That is why I say in my own dictionary, love is not blind. All right.
Now you've moved to the section that I like to talk about. You understand? But before we go to that section I'd like to talk about, which is love, is like I want to ask you a question. When we have COVID,
Yes.
every government declare emergency.
Yes.
They pump out money to attack this something. When we had Ebola, the same thing. Everything was locked down. Has there been government, a massive government reaction support in supporting or preventing this going on?
So far, the government has been supportive, but I can say that they can do better.
Okay.
They can do better because I believe we have the largest prevalence. A lot of responsibility is in our hands. One thing that is causing all this incompatibility thing is one thing I feel the government can do, should do as a matter of emergency is the medical laboratories. They must start checking the quality of what they bring out. One thing that has led to a lot of procreation of people living with sickle cell disease is misinformation from the medical laboratories. And when you go to all these laboratories, you find out that most of them they're not standard. They don't have the standard tools. They don't go through the standard regulations to give their clients the right information. So an average guy will say, "Oh, I'm AA, I'm AA, I'm AA, I'm AA." He falls in love. He falls in love with a woman. Oh, okay. What's your genotype? Oh, I'm AS. Oh, lucky me, lucky me, lucky me, lucky me. And in another scenario, the guy is AS. He thinks he's AA. The lady is AS. She thinks she's AA. They get married. Then the first child is SS. They don't even know the first child is SS. They breed the second child is also SS. And then suddenly the child gets to he's 3 years old, 4 years old. I'm in pains. And you need to see when a patient with a child with sickle cell is in pain. It's not something you want to see. It's an unbearable thing to see, and they start wondering, where is this pain coming from? What is this? I have a woman in my organization, one of my members. She got married thinking she's AS. Her husband is AA. Okay, so they have the first child. Everything is fine. Then the second child comes, the third child comes, the fourth child comes, and everything is fine until the child gets to age 5, and then the complications start. What's happening? What's happening? What is this? What is that? What's wrong? What's wrong? They go to the hospital, nothing. Misdiagnosis. And then somewhere one friend connects her to somebody. You know how we are in Nigeria. The connection goes and they said, maybe this child is suffering from another disease, maybe cancer. That go to Ife. Can you imagine from Lagos? Go to Ife to see and be diagnosed and see if the child has cancer, they will treat it. And she gets to Ife and lo and behold, tada, your children have sickle cell disease. 3 out of 4 children have sickle cell disease. And that was how the reality of the mistake dawned on most of them. So both are paid a price for misinformation from the medical laboratory. So if the government can do that primary thing for us, the prevalence in Nigeria would really, and they really have to be strict, very strict. Look at that. I thank God now that okay, I'm old enough to manage my complications, my health condition. I'm old enough to manage it. I've been through a lot of it, but thankfully I find myself here, and I thank God. What of those who can't manage? What of those that have died from it? What of those whose life have never remained the same because of it? So that is one thing that the government should see as a real emergency to tackle sickle cell prevalence in Nigeria.
See, every time I want to move to love and you answer my question, it brings another question in my mind. So I'm going to ask you these 2 questions, then promise we'll go to the love. You understand? So I want you to tell our viewers that the sickle cell we're talking about is not like HIV that is contagious when you sleep with somebody. This one is only when you try to procreate. Because some people have that misinformation, they just avoid someone with sickle cell as if it's a contagious disease like Ebola. So please let people know, please.
Okay. Yes, thank you for that. That's one thing we face in Nigeria. The stigmatization is killing. I'm in a better place now where I'm confident. I could go to anywhere and tell them, can you see my eyes are yellow? Please do not stress me. Let me get this done on time. There was a time in my life I would just shy away. I don't want anybody to know that I have sickle cell disease. Even in relationships, it's been, oh, she's SS, get out. I'm not interested. But please, 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 it could happen to anybody. Sickle cell can happen to anybody. It's not something that you breathe in and then you have sickle cell. No, there's no need to run away. There's no need for that. Just know your genotype and know that your spouse genotype is compatible with yours, and then you are good to go. But in a case where you meet them, you don't need to run from them. You could help them. Because most of them, they are fine this minute, and the next minute, the pain comes, and there's a situation where you cannot handle things. And then instead of helping these people, you turn them into a TV station, a TV station where you can just be watching and watching and watching. No, it shouldn't be that way. So please reduce the level of stigmatization, and with genotype compatibility, you are fine. Don't be scared of sickle cell. Only help those with sickle cell disease.
All right. So I have another question. Is there a curve? And what I mean by this curve is like, let's say somebody with sickle cell, they have this struggle. Then maybe after 22 years old, if the person survives and is still alive, it's good to go. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So is there a curve? Like this person, by God's help, was able to survive all this traumatization. So when they get to 31, maybe it's a range, maybe between 25 and 31, that if they survive that age group, then they're good to go. Is there a curve?
I understand what you are saying. You are asking for the mortality. Yes, from the age of sickle cell is most most sickle cell patients are most vulnerable between their from when they are born to like age 7, 8. That is when they are most vulnerable, because you see a lot of symptoms and all that. But if they can be managed properly with newborn screening, going to the hospitals, going to the hematologists, and following the doctor's prescriptions, they will be fine. But however, one other thing is sickle cell disease is a very unpredictable disease. One person can be fine today, and the next minute is gone. The only thing I will advise is whoever you are, whatever you are doing, if you know anyone with sickle cell, avoid them living alone by themselves. Because when they are alone and when they are in crisis, we call it pain crisis. That is when the health condition comes, the pain comes in. And when they are in crisis, they are not able to do anything. I avoid being alone as much as possible, because I know when I'm in pain, when the pain crisis comes, it could be it could be anywhere. When it comes, it circulates everywhere. I'm not able to do anything. I'm grumpy. I'm teary-eyed. It's not even something I can control. The tears just come in, and I need help. So I need to be in a place where people understand me. That is the relevance of the caregivers. So they always need to be with their caregivers. Except, yes, they are now in adulthood or they are married and they can manage it properly. But for children, teenagers, maybe in your early adulthood, avoid them staying by themselves.
Uh, Again, the show is Love, Sex, and Romance, and we have with us doctoral student Oluwafemi Ajayi. She's been telling us about sickle cell, how to manage what sickle cell is about, how to manage sickle cell. She's an international advocate for sickle cell and pain in Nigeria, South Africa, and all over the place. We are happy to have her on the show. But now I have no choice to move to the most interesting sex and romance. All right. So, using yourself as an example, how has the dating been?
Wow.
The dating pool?
Wow, it's been tough. I need to be honest. So many, and we are in Nigeria. The pressure is much. You're not yet married. Go have married. Go inside their husband's house. They have children. Blah blah blah. The pressure is much, but you know who you are, and when you know that you cannot compare yourself with any other person, then you need to stay strong. The dating for me, it's been wow. I've met one thing is when the average Nigerian man meets you, oh, he wants to get to know you better and all of that, and then you come with, I have sickle cell. It's like a red flag. It's like you're waving a red flag and you're like, I'm a no-go area. I'm a no-go area. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm just trying to tell you that, okay, if you're saying you love me or you want to be with me, you have to be with me with my health condition. And if you don't know much about it, then go read about it, know more about it. It is a way of telling me that you love me. But the moment you tell them that, most of them are like, tada, I'm off. I'm off the radar. I'm running. I don't want anybody sending me to the hospital again and again and again. My money, I don't want to waste it on hospital bills. I don't want anybody who will die on me. I don't want anybody who come and stress me. No, I don't want it. Even if they know their genotype is compatible with yours. The worst of them is the men with uh, the men whose genotype is AA. They are so scared of, hey, I don't want people with sickle cell. I don't want people with sickle cell. So I'm like, okay. Then the guys with AS, whose genotype are AS, they come. And they are bolder, they are more loving. What do I do? I'm the one who conveys, hey, know your genotype. So what do I do now? You are AS, you are claiming to love me. I'm SS. What do you want me to do? We can't do that. Okay, so we go to the genetic counselor and he gives us options. And I'm like, ah,
All right, so see, this is what I want to know. Right, what you described right now, do the men with SS face the same challenges
the same.
in dating women?
There was a time in my we have a support group in my organization. We have a support group, and there was a time we were talking about this dating and all of that. And funny enough, two of my members, both of them SS, and they said we have chosen. We don't care what anybody says. We are both SS. We will marry ourselves like that. People started cursing at them. Are you guys like crazy? You want to marry each other? I said yes.
Actually, I was coming to that question because from everything you said so far, the only danger I see is having children. And we have people that are very healthy, and still they don't have children, and they have to adopt children. So I was going to ask you the kind single cells that actually love each other, marry, and since they know their emotions, and adopt a child.
It's possible. That was what they were actually saying. That no, we know the risk. We are not going to have our own children. We are going to adopt children.
Bingo.
And they're
That's
like,
a
okay,
good
if
news.
that's what, just go to your genetic counselor. The genetic counselors are there to give you advice, both in medical advice and the other options. Every option that is acceptable that you can run with. But sometimes it comes with a huge finance. But just be ready. As long as you decide that, okay, this is what I want, then go to your genetic counselor and then they give you options and you pick one, tada, I'm good to go. So that's it.
All right. There was a rumor I had. I don't know whether it is true, but for me, it's a rumor that some people went to church trying to get married, and it was even the pastor that separated them because one was a sickle cell patient. He told the other person, like, hey, no, you can't marry this person. So he separated it. Does that actually happen in real life?
I don't think I've never heard of the pastor being bold enough to separate two adults who already know what they want. He could counsel them and say, no, I don't think what you are doing is right. Your genotypes are not compatible, so I cannot marry both of you. I can't be held responsible for the outcome of this marriage. But that he will now forcefully force them to go apart. I don't think it will come to that. I don't think so. But really, The best thing is when you see fire, you don't go into it. You don't touch it. When you see danger, you don't run into danger. Believe you me, as a patient, I've lived for long enough to know that sickle cell is not something anybody wants to experience. But if it's here, it's here. Manage it. So if you can avoid it, avoid it. If you can't, then manage it as best as you can. That's it.
All right. So, can you tell us some of the best resources available for patients and people living with sickle cell? And before you answer that question, this is what I mean. It is, I think, since COVID, or
Yes.
probably before COVID, more people are now aware of what to eat, how to do exercise to balance themselves.
Exactly.
Because before COVID, there's been cardiac arrest, people just passing out, a lot of things happening, heart attack. You understand? So then COVID just brought all that medical condition to the front. Everybody's now aware.
Yeah.
Wash your hand, do this, everything applied to everybody. But specifically for sickle cell, is there something that you do better to manage your condition to stay?
Okay. The first thing for it's like the standard. The first thing for anybody with sickle cell is water. Drink lots and lots and lots and lots of water. Stay hydrated, and then take fruits and veggies, fruits and vegetables, a lot of them. Avoid all those then proteins also could be good. Avoid all this
Junk food,
junk food, drinks, to all this
soda, sugar.
yeah, but don't go that route at all. I, for one, the moment I get up in the morning, the first thing I take water. Then I try, I've not exhausted my fruits, I go to my fruits. I take my fruits. Then my supplements. There are routine drugs. There are routine supplements. I do more of supplements. I believe the supplements um build my immune system. So they help me. When they build my immune system, I'm able to cope and I'm able to avoid falling sick. The drugs are for when I'm sick. But also I take more of supplements to build my immune system and make my PCB stable and make sure I'm not just going and I'm feeling, oh, I'm tired, oh, I'm in pain, So take your water, take the fruits, vegetables. If you're gonna, I'm a rice person. I love rice a lot, but I know I cannot continue to live with rice alone. So I take it with vegetables and I take fruits. That helps me stay balanced and live healthy. You understand? So live healthy, eat your healthy meals, take water, drink lots of water. At least per day, I try to take 3 or 4 bottles of water. I try to take 4 bottles of water, and then my supplements, I take them all every day. Every day I take them. So those helps me to stay healthy, and that applies to everyone with sickle cell.
After the show, I will talk to you. I want you to be able to give our viewer resources.
Okay.
What I mean by resources is like each state, each local government, this support group. I don't know whether you have support group in each state and in each local government. That information and which hospital, which laboratory that people can go to. So after the show, you will give us, we'll put it on the channel that people can refer to it. But
one disheartening thing about Africa which integrates into Nigeria is when it comes to science, technology, medicine, we are a bit lagging behind. We are trying, but we're lagging behind in some things. I attended a seminar yesterday where they were discussing on data and registry for people with sickle cell disease because the pharmaceuticals they need these numbers, they need to work with these numbers. And the funny thing is, even until now, up until now, in Nigeria, despite the fact that we have the largest prevalence, we don't have a standard
registry or date of birth.
Yes, we don't have the real that somebody can just call today and say, "Oh yes, give it to me." So we are just trying to build and work on what some people already have. Some have done it; they are still doing it, but we don't have the basic big one that's the unifying one that anybody can come and say, "Okay, we need this." Yeah, get it. We are still working.
Does religion play a role in this thing? Because a lot of people in Africa, especially in Nigeria, everything is religion.
Yes.
They don't want to be stigmatized, we know that. But even taking their medication and supplement, they just say, "Oh, blood of Jesus." Even the pastor will say, "With this anointing oil, with this and that." So, how does the religion play a role in
It
all
has
this factor?
played a I'm talking from my lived experience. For me, the role religion has played was not, I wouldn't say it was so good. It wasn't so good. It kept me in self-denial. Because when they say, at a time in my life, some people were telling me, you are a sickler. You know, before they would say sickler, sickler. But we don't use sickler for ourselves again. We say warrior. I say I'm a winning warrior. And I say, I reject it. I have faith. I cannot join any organization. I cannot join any organization with for sickle cell. I don't have sickle cell. I'm not a sickler in Jesus' name. I bind, I reject. Here am I today. I'm a patient advocate. I advocate for people like myself. So that mentality kept me in self-denial for a long time. But when I thought self, I wasn't there when my dad and mom were procreating my characteristics, everything, my phenotypes were just showing, and I wasn't there. So the power behind it all, that God knew me before all these things happened. He knew this thing was going to happen to me. So why am I living in self-denial? Because I'm caring what people will say, or because my understanding has been tuned to one side, and then I erased all that, and then I started again, and I was able to embrace myself. So if you are coming to me, you have to accept me for me. Don't think you will change me to suit yourself. No.
Once again, the show is Love, Sex, and Romance, and we're about to wrap up right now. And we're discussing sickle cell anemia and the challenges and the pain patients, clients are facing. And our doctoral student, Oluwafemi Ajayi, has been wonderful to us on the show today. So I'm going to give her the last chance to give us hope, give us love for Valentine, and tell us how we're going to survive this period.
Well, there's hope. There's always hope. There's hope for everyone. Don't ever give up on yourself. There are people in worse situations. There are worse diseases than sickle cell. Diseases that you are just in the place and then you take it, and in less than 1 week, that person is gone. There are worse diseases.
And Ebola is less than a week, I think 3 days or 4 days.
There are worse diseases than sickle cell. So what is in sickle cell? What is it? What's the big deal about sickle cell? There was a time in my life I would say, "Oh God, why me? Why me? Why me?" Especially as I'm a twin. So I'll compare myself with my twin. My twin, very normal. And I'll say, "God, why me? Why not her? Why not someone else?" And then I changed from "why me?" and I said, "Why not me? Why not me?" Okay, thank you, it is me, because I'm able to touch other people, tell them, live life better. It is not the end of the world. You can live with it. And then, to those who don't have it, show them love. Your life is not for you alone. That's one thing I've come to understand. For every individual, you are in a family, you are in school, you are in a department, you are not in this world for yourself alone. You are tied to so many people. So live that life for that God, and for those your destinies are tied to. That is it.
That is a beautiful one. The show again is Love, Sex, and Romance, and she just said, live your life, love people around you. People always think about widows, orphans, and poor people as the only people that need love or that need help. But in our families, in our community, we have people that need more love. So let's celebrate love. Let's love one another. Let's show compassion. And with that, the world is going to get better. My name again is KDP, King David Kokola. The show is Love, Sex, and Romance. Until we come to your way next time, Enjoy yourself. Enjoy your Valentine.
Good.